Hey, welcome to the spoiler section. We're talking Logan. All right, so jumping right in on spoilers. Do you want to start with the? Do you want to open the floor with the?
Laura killed a lot of people.
Oh my God,
And
so
it was
many people.
Amazing.
Oh.
Spinning and flipping through the air all crazy.
Yeah, and I think that, like you were saying, like starting her off mute was smart. She starts mute, and then she speaks Spanish, and then she speaks English, and I was like, sort of an interesting evolution of how she communicates. Which I like the mute part, and then I actually like that she speaks Spanish and then English. The only thing that was weird with that is that she's raised, there's the facility she's raised at is in Mexico, and all of the other kids are there, and I'm like, oh, okay, so they all speak Spanish. Like, that totally makes sense. But no, just Laura. It's like she was the only one that they thought about enough to oh yeah, and the rest of them, they were like, he has lightning powers, whatever. He's like, hello. So that was a little weird, but...
American accents and...
Yeah.
Okay.
Only one with even a Hispanic accent.
Yeah. I thought she was great. And you're right. They let her murder 15 people before she talks. That way, even the most jaded adults kind of like her already. She could say anything right now and be like, you. Oh, man. One character that felt very... so in the X-Men, you have, all of these hundreds of characters, and Caliban was such, an odd choice. Yeah. And when I saw in the trailer, it was Caliban, and then I realized halfway, partway through the movie that, it's because his power set is, finding other mutants, and he's, plot integral.
No more Cerebro.
Yeah, there's no more Cerebro because... Spoilers.
Exploded.
Patrick Stewart had a seizure. Professor X had a seizure or something. And it's hinted that he killed the X-Men, at least 7 members of the X-Men.
He's done some terrible thing.
Yeah, and we see later in the, I think they're in Vegas when they're in the casino.
The hotel.
Yeah, that he has the ability to accidentally kill hundreds of people.
What'd they call his brain? The dude was your brain is a level 5 weapon of mass destruction.
Yeah. Which was whoa.
Jesus.
And the fact that it was deteriorating.
Yeah.
He had Alzheimer's and...
When I said he was devastating in this movie, I seriously mean it. The movie gives you nothing really positive for Xavier. He gets maybe 2 minutes of screen time where he doesn't look horribly miserable. And that's right before he's murdered.
He starts with insane rambling.
Yeah.
That was crazy. I thought that was a good way to introduce him. Of not have some sort of what's he gonna say first? He's already rambling about random stuff.
And I love the way, because when he's in that tipped over water silo or whatever.
Yeah.
One thing I really liked was it's supposed to be closed off to keep his mental powers all dense, but I love that there were little holes in it, right? Because when you pull back, it's him alone in this room with little lights, and it's a mirror of Cerebro from the previous movies.
Oh.
And I like that. I like that they visually sort of called it back to that big cavernous space, but made it the opposite, this horrible
disheveled. Yeah.
And this movie just does everything to be a bummer. I feel like there was a mandate, no, if there's any happiness, you just take it out. I was really hoping there'd be some scene where Patrick Stewart got a little bit of a last, a little Xavier moment. No, he doesn't get to do anything. He gets to stop some horses.
He does. Yeah.
He goes, horses, stop running around the freeway. That's his big moment.
You did get that, but as far as how degenerated his brain was, it made sense. We wanted him to have that powerful moment, but at that time in his life, he just can't.
Yeah, and in a lot of ways, this is almost like an anti-superhero movie. You can tell, if they saw a moment that was too superhero-y, they figured out a way to hedge it or cut it or make it negative in a lot in a lot of ways. And I think that's why they brought the Shane thing in, right? I hate the Shane thing, guys. I hate it.
What's the Shane thing?
In the movie, they watched Shane.
Oh.
They watched Patrick Stewart and Professor X and Laura. It's not just how tied those two are. Professor X and Laura watch the movie Shane, and they show this big long quote at the end about how there's no gunslingers anymore, basically saying like, people who do violence, there will always be violence as long as people who are willing to do violence are still around. And in Shane, he leaves, and there's no more gunslingers in the valley. You can kind of see where this is going with Logan. Like, oh, Logan's no longer there. There's no more, even though there is, there's no more bad guys at least hunting these kids. But this quote is so just ham-fisted, smashed into the movie. Like, I would have already felt all of the things that the Shane quote wanted me to feel. Like, oh, wow, these kids are finally, like, free. Like, he's finally, like, he's clearly affected by all of, like, the death and violence. And, like, he's trying to tell Laura about that. And it's just a bummer that he doesn't even get to do that. It's the fucking movie Shane that comes in and does that. It's like, what?
Yeah, a remake of that scene with Logan in some way, like, would have been a better illusion than literally copy-paste.
Yeah.
Like,
well, and they already do it with X-24, who's his evil, angry clone, wearing the Wolverine equivalent, which is a black tank top versus a white tank top.
Yeah.
Which was very deliberate, especially if they're like, oh, by the way, Shane, you're like, I already got that. It's fine. Okay. But yeah, the Shane thing, I love it, like the idea of the theme, and I love the idea that, like, yeah, Wolverine's not like your normal superhero because he's very badly damaged by all of the things that he's done. And when you see the fight scenes, you're like, yeah, I get it. Yeah, I'd be completely scarred by doing that to a number of human beings. It's just the Shane things just pushed it too far for me, I think.
I would have liked them to play with, because rather than leaning on Shane, so they leaned on Shane a lot. And I wish they had played more with that nightmare scene when they finally make it to Eden, and he has a nightmare, and it's like his nightmares are him killing people, but her nightmares are people killing her, and like I think that could have been. Because in Shane, the little boy's an innocent. He doesn't have any, like, he's a victim. Laura. Yeah. But Laura's, like, an active part of her tragedy. Yeah. And it's just, like, it lost me.
It's not parallel enough to be that directly quoted.
Yeah. Yeah.
I agree. I would have, they made, like, subtext text, and that's never a good thing. You don't want to do that, especially in filmmaking where you have music and dialogue and visuals. Like, you don't need to then be like, let me tell you directly what this movie is about.
Here's the theme.
Yeah.
It's right here.
And I felt so bad because when we got done watching the movie, like the Shane quote comes up and I'm like, and I look over and Jordan is sitting there and she's crying and I'm like, oh no, don't ruin it for her. Don't be like, what is this? Like, so like, obviously, you know, it'll affect different people differently. But for me, it was just like, out of the movie.
Yeah, I was very ready to feel, and it just let me down. Yeah. It was cool what she did with the cross and made it an X. I was like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool. Yeah, that was cool. I was waiting for the fist to come out of the rocks or something.
Who knows, man?
I was waiting for him to come back too, but I'm like, well, you know, he's supposed to die. But I love that X. I thought that was neat.
There's rumors that Hugh Jackman will show up in the next Deadpool movie. I really hope he doesn't. Like, if he does, I'll be disappointed in him forever.
Yeah, like, if you're gonna be gone, be gone.
Well, and if you're gonna go out with such like a strong like statement of this character being retired, you did it right. Don't do it. Don't undermine that and then just disappear. Like, let it. I think they should be happy that they got this movie because this movie shouldn't even exist. I mean, for crying out loud. Yeah. Wolverine solo movies are proven failures consistently. And when was the last time you heard of an actor just getting a chance to make a whole movie to send off their character?
I've never heard of that.
Yeah. I mean, Star Trek 5 or whatever?
Star Trek, yeah.
The one where it ends and it has all their signatures? Don't do Generations. Like, don't do that. Don't bring back your character for no reason.
Hugh Jackman, don't do that.
Don't do that.
Dare you.
Is there any other scenes you guys wanted to talk about or any little...
I want to talk about plot holes.
Yeah, let's go.
Because there was like, they went out of their way to cover one huge plot hole, but then there were all these little ones that could have been solved way easier. We talked about the big one.
The food?
The adamantium
The
bullet in the
food.
head.
It was the
Oh,
food.
the food and the bullet, yeah.
How the mutants went away, and they just like they put way too much effort into like I could have worked with just having the mutants like taken care of by some evil scientist or something, but they just like
It's like realistic and silly at the same time. It's like somebody who read like a fluoride conspiracy about like how it's controlling us. So the thing that got rid of the mutants,
corn syrup.
corn syrup. They put some stuff in corn syrup and gave everyone subtle gene therapy. And that did it. That got rid of the mutants.
Except these ones that are
That are
prepubescent.
homegrown. Yeah, and I don't know why they keep doing this. In the X-Men universe, when you hit puberty is when your mutant powers are supposed to kick in. But these movies, I think X-Men 3 did it. A couple of other ones have been like, it doesn't matter what age you are. And so all of the kids in this are like, what, like 12 to 15 maybe?
That is
Yeah.
about puberty, though.
Yeah, I guess. Some of them look so young.
Preteen.
Maybe I'm just old. Maybe I'm just old now and everyone looks like a child. Like, what are you, 8? I'm 13. Oh, jeez.
You should have mutant powers by now.
The adamantium bullet is a good thing to bring up, though, because this movie does a lot to separate itself from like the continuity at large. But it brings up the adamantium bullet, which was one of the dumbest things in Wolverine Origins.
Same plot device.
In Wolverine Origins, they use it. They shoot him twice in the head with adamantium bullets, and it erases his memory, but he's still alive, which makes him an Etch-a-Sketch. You just shake him really hard. And then, so in this movie, they have the adamantium bullet, and I like the way it's used in this. Obviously, it's much better. You know, it's like, I might just kill myself with this because it's really my only option. But then it's used to take out X-24.
I think
his
that was his name.
Yeah.
And she is X-23.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's fine, but we've established that if you shoot a Wolverine with an adamantium bullet, it just cleans his slate. Which I thought they were going to be like, they shot him in the head, but he's healed, but he has no memories, and then he's going to go up to Canada and live with the children.
That would have been nice.
Would have been weird.
And then he has like weird aggression issues.
I'm kind of glad that they didn't do that, because they would have been like, look, they retired Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. Except that Wolverine over there. Oh, man. Yeah. No.
I want to get into X-23.
X-23.
Since you brought it up.
Yeah.
So I am a huge fan of X-23. I've read the comics, and like I was disappointed to see that they didn't like effectively get her to the point where she was a weapon, because in the comics they use because what triggers her is a scent, and they just put that scent on whoever they want her to kill. And honestly, she just ends up killing whoever's in the room.
Yeah.
Because it triggers her so
like,
heavily.
Yeah.
And she's Wolverine in girl form.
She's a full-on assassin.
Yeah.
Like they've sent her on missions and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. In the comics, I was disappointed to see that like it was just like another mini Wolverine, and she failed the the whole program failed of training weapons, but
before she could even do anything really.
Yeah. Like why would they give her claws before she has legitimate training? Like, why wouldn't they? It seems weird to make her a full weapon before she's a full weapon in a way.
Yeah, well, she's clearly comfortable murdering people.
Yeah.
Very comfortable.
Yeah.
But she hasn't been on any missions, or we haven't. It's implied that she hasn't been on any missions or ever out of her compound. She may have, but they don't make a point of stating it one way or the other.
That actually leads me to my next thing that I want to talk about. What do you guys think of the selfie video recording of the nurse?
It was a little too edited.
And that was Logan's attachment to...
I couldn't tell if it was supposed to be like a blend of her memories with this footage.
Yeah.
But it was produced. It was highly edited, and she's like,
She's
doctors are like right
voiceovers.
there, and she's like, no, talking to the camera, please.
Yes. You see what they're doing? Getting all up in their face.
I think it was hinted that some of it was surveillance footage she stole, maybe. But even that was still framed up nicely, and yeah,
getting just the right stuff at the exact right moment. It's like okay.
It was a lot like a found footage horror movie that way, where like, no, they didn't find this. This is very carefully crafted. And, yeah, who's holding the camera right now? Oh, you don't know? Oh, well that's not good.
I think they tried to like force the appeal of Logan being Laura's father. Like I was already feeling that, but like I think it was too literal. Again, with they went way too literal with it because
I agree.
audiences are smarter than that.
Yeah,
Like,
and Wolverine sort of has this tradition of taking on a younger female sidekick. First it was Kitty Pryde, then Jubilee. So like, and then in the X-Men movies it's Rogue.
yeah.
So it wouldn't have been a stretch for him to just be like, oh, I can't let these kids just be murdered horribly. Like, and that's what's at stake. But he still needs pushed. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, he was weirdly resistant to even when Charles was like, "There's another mutant." He was like, "Nah, shut up." And it's like, "She's the mutant. She's right here." And he's like, "Nah, I don't care."
You're crazy. You're
I have to see her murdering like 20 guys before I take it seriously. It's like-
I will say one thing I loved, one little moment, is when they get in the stretch limo and then they try and drive through the fence.
oh yeah, they
And
don't
they
make
can't,
it.
like the car just can't make it through the fence and they have to like back out. I was like, all right, I don't think I've ever seen that in a movie.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. And it was very tense. Like it definitely was a nice way to ramp up the tension because you're so used to movies like, okay, and now the scene is over. Instead it was like, ha
I like that when they pulled back and dragged the fence with them and like take everyone out with them.
Oh, and they take out that biker. Again, I winced so much in this
Oh,
movie.
yeah.
Oh yeah, he was hanging on and shooting, and then he gets smacked into a building. That was awesome.
God.
Gosh, there's so many times I covered my face, like just like body parts exploding. It's just
There's a lot of blood in this movie. Like, they do not go light. There's, like, every time someone gets remotely, like, cut or stabbed or anything, it's like, oh, it's not like...
I noticed even the quick swipes, because there was, like, like Logan did a quick swipe of one of the Hicks or something, and, like, it was a quick, like, pan, because he kept, like, killing people, but you saw, like, their head and their upper body, like, split into three and blood in between it, and I was just like, the detail. It was off. I was just like, whoa.
one of the ones that really got me is when he like went up through someone's jaw and you could see the in their mouth, and then they made this gurgling noise. I was like, "You're still alive."
They do that so many times. That doesn't happen once. That happens like 5 or 6 times. There's one where he stabs a guy in the back of the head and a little tiny piece of the claw comes out of his eye, and I was like, oh! Damn! Oh! Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, there was a lot of that for me.
There's a lot of that, yeah. Like, yeah, the big world building stuff is like silly, like the food thing, and then there's no mutants, and everything's broken and sucks, and the future looks awful because it just looks like right now, except worse.
With bigger limos or something.
Oh, and limo Uber.
Limo Uber.
Oh, that was weird.
Dude, that was so weird. He was like, oh man, we need to make a lot of money to get a boat.
What's the best thing I can think of?
I'm going to spend a lot of money on a car to make a lot of money to get a boat.
And I'm going to use it for limo Uber.
That was it? That's what you want to do? Yeah. What if you, like, bounty hunted or did something you could be Wolverine at? I always wanted to be a drag.
So was the reason that he was, like, getting old because the adamantium was, like, poisoning him?
They definitely hinted that. It's something like he's old, he's aging more than he ever has, and his healing factor is failing him, which as soon as his healing factor isn't at full form, that's when the adamantium starts to poison him, because it's like a heavy metal poisoning.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, that's why he was coughing so much and just
Okay.
wrecked.
Because they didn't really explain that. He's just like, I know what's wrong with me, and then...
Yeah.
There's
I guess
something
that's
inside me that's wrong.
Yeah.
That's it.
So what caused his healing factor?
They never say. They don't care. This movie is like details, little like comic things. We don't care about that. Just pay attention to like the big story we're telling you, which like I thought worked overall.
Definitely.
Would I have liked those little details to be like? Yes, I would have.
Well,
But,
he's a character that's been around for so long. It's like I kind of would like to know why he's dying.
Yeah. And like if there's an option, like, or if he's just been like, no, I don't care, because that's important. We're led to believe that he's like mostly resigned to his fate, but we don't know if his fate is assigned to him or if it's self-chosen. And I think it would have been nice to know that.
Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't have made a huge difference, but it would have like thematically, I thought, made a bigger difference. Like when you sacrifice yourself and you're already dying, that's one thing. If you sacrifice yourself and you have the potential to not die fairly soon afterwards. It's like a different thing, you know?
Yeah.
Both are heroic and definitely work in this movie. It's just, you know.
They could have brought it up naturally too with what was the name of the albino mutant? What is he called?
Caliban.
Caliban. If Caliban was just like, of all the things you choose to do, why are you a limo guy? We could make more money faster and like we could have like live better, but like yeah, they didn't get into it. Cause I did like how it started though, him sleeping in his limo.
Yeah. Oh, the
And
opening
then
scene is
they
such like we're gonna establish the tone and everything for this movie really, really quickly. And I'm gonna like it. If you can't handle this action scene, ooh.
Just walk out now.
Who's hiring a limo with buckshot in the side? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, someone going to a funeral doesn't care.
Well, it's Uber though, so no one knows what they're getting.
That's true. That's true.
And they're all drunk usually anyway, so.
Was
They are
it
in this
literally
area.
Uber?
No,
is that
it
like
was-
an advertisement or is it just
we
like
actually-
a pickup app?
It was a pickup app. I didn't.
Okay.
I don't think it specified who, but it's
Are
like
you making
two
money
passengers.
off Uber by saying Uber right now? That's what I'm
The show is not sponsored by Uber, Lyft, or any other ride services. Although we are open to a sponsorship.
Right. If
Yeah,
you
we
would like
do.
to give us money, we will sponsor the. I might have to
All right.
So I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
So there was something I noticed that they were trying to do early on, and that is the New Mutant kids.
Mhm.
They were trying to get people who had read the comics to empathize with the New Mutant kids by making the comic books like one of the few things they ever actually knew.
Yeah.
And I want to know how effective that was for you.
So
Yeah.
here's the thing.
Oh.
Here's the thing. Fox doesn't have the rights to the X-Men comics. They have rights to the characters and stories, but not the comics themselves. So they actually had to commission fake comics to be made for Logan. So the issues that they showed, the reason that their costumes are all a little off and everything like that is because they don't have the trademark for presenting comics that look exactly. Yeah.
They couldn't just like pay for them.
Yeah, I think Joe Quesada came in and did it. So people from Marvel were involved in that. It just, rights reasons, they had to make new ones. For me, it was like a 50-50. I thought it was like, oh, that's kind of neat. Like, it sort of explains how the public sees them versus how they are. And I like having that distance. But it also implies, like, do you read comics, you little baby? No one likes you. It's like, come on, movie. Like, we're why you exist. Like, don't come at us.
Yeah, when he was like, it's not real,
Yeah.
okay? It's like
Yeah.
half real. Like,
Well, and I think he specifically says, like, it's a little fantasy for children and that. It's like,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like, comics should be
Ouch.
available for kids and teens and stuff. But, like, maybe don't take a huge dump on the people who made this thing impossible at all. So I'm split on it. I think it was cool overall. And I don't think that the message of, like, the anti-comics for, like, older audiences was actually too explicit. So overall, I liked it.
okay.
And I like the idea that the public has this view of Wolverine, and then this Wolverine is different from that.
Yeah.
It definitely pushed the Elseworld aspect of it, the very like separate continuity. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I would say my favorite moment of those efforts they were trying to make was when Logan was passed out, and then you hear like a snip snip of one
guys.
scissors,
Oh, yeah.
then two scissors, and then just like a bunch of.
All the scissors.
The whole movie, I was because like there's some posters where he has the chops, and the whole movie I was
Oh.
like, is he gonna get the chops now? And then when they did it, I was like, oh.
That was probably
That's
one of the
good.
cutest scenes in the movie.
Absolutely.
And just like all the kids laughing and giggling and cutting his hair.
Man, he is out.
That's not funny.
All right, we should wrap things up. This is going on a little long, but
yeah.
we'll go ahead and we'll do recommends, don't recommends again. Just again, summing up your thoughts, and in case somebody was like, I don't want to watch this spoiler free.
I really enjoyed this movie. I thought that it was pretty graphic, but quite, I don't know, surprising and enjoyable. So I would totally recommend watching this movie. And
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say overall I was very satisfied with the experience. Definite recommend. It is rated R and it hits all the rated R things. There's swears, there's violence, and there is a little bit of nudity. So I
just throw
recommend.
that in there.
Yeah, for the record, most random movie nudity I think in a long time. It's so unnecessary. They threw it in there to get that little check mark on the
Yeah.
Yeah, I recommend this movie too. As somebody who's had many long, angry rants about how terrible some of the older X-Men movies are, and had like sort of like a complicated relationship with these films, being a huge fan of the X-Men in general, I liked this. I thought this was a nice send-off. I hope that Fox can take a cue from this and learn the right things, right? This movie didn't succeed because it was violent or rated R or darker. It succeeded because it was focused and had a destination for the character set out, and everyone had motivation. The acting was good. It was solid and focused. I mean, if you compare this with X-Men Apocalypse, there's a lot more violence and probably people dying off screen in X-Men Apocalypse, and it's dark, but it's wildly unfocused. They don't have any idea how these characters interact. They're not building relationships. By the end of Logan, Laura and Logan have such a more evolved relationship than basically any we've seen in the X-Men movies so far. And that's a shame because this is a series that's about a team that's more of a family than a team, and we never get to see those ties. So I hope that's what Fox can take from this, is that if they focus on those ties and they focus on getting the characters right, that's what will bring them success. That's what made Deadpool work. That's what's making this work. And if they can keep on that track, I think they'll be really successful. And then hopefully I can be a happy X fan and just love the movies moving forward. Definitely recommend it. Check it out. And if you are a comics nerd, check it out with another comics nerd friend and then sit there and talk about all the little goofy stuff at the end. It's never enough to overwhelm the film, and it's always fun to pick at the strings. That's it for Stubtown this quarter. This is the end of our second little season, and this is my final episode. Next quarter we'll have new hosts, new producers, new editors. I'm graduating, y'all. I'm out. So it's kind of cool that I got to go off on that I get to leave the show. Like I'm retiring my host as they're retiring their characters. It's kind of cool.
Oh.
And isn't
That is some deep stuff.
Whoa. And then
You gotta die now.
no. Just like, I have like an on-screen canon host death. Oh, there you go. Yeah. So yeah, this has been a blast for me. I've had a great time coming in and doing reviews of this. This was sort of the brainchild of me and Tafadzwa, so I will be so happy to see it carried on. And just, it's always good to talk about movies. I feel like you learn so much more about what makes a movie great or what doesn't. I mean, you learn a lot by seeing how other people fall or succeed. And I think critique's a very important part of any filmmaker's process. So I encourage you all to look at film critically. I think you'll get a lot of enjoyment out of it. And I hope for the best for the future of this show. That's it for Stubtown this quarter. We'll be back next quarter, or they'll be back next quarter. And that's it. See you guys later.